Welcome to Holistic Health and Healing, a show offering solutions for the body, being, and beyond. In each episode, we discuss topics that empower you to take a holistic approach to step into your unique voice in this world. Now, here are your hosts, Dr. K and Hank Setala, the Sonic Shaman.
Happy Monday, everyone. Welcome to the Holistic Health and Healing podcast. I'm even sporting my Holistic Health and Healing sweatshirt today. It's very fun. But it's that time of the year. It's like perfect timing when we pick this as a topic because the weather just kind of started to turn a little bit cooler. And what better time to talk about boosting the immune system just in time to kind of head into the winter months.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's why I chose it. It came to mind. I'm like, well, weather's changing, and so we best get kind of aware and prepared. Not that I fixate on that, but however.
Right. And we were talking before going on air, like we're going to be going through a lot of different things with essential oils and different energy processes. But the number one thing going into any situation where you might be worried about getting sick or anything like that is the mindset and knowing like really what is possible. What do you know? Like there's been times I was about to go into a store and my body's like, yeah, maybe don't go into the store right now. Go somewhere else. And like really like listen to your intuition, follow what your body's knowing is. And maybe sometimes just based on that, you might avoid situations where you might have gotten sick. But if you are put in those situations, there's a ton of things you can do to give your body a boost to better weather a potential storm.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the first thing we're going to talk about. And with all of my clients, I always state this line: I can give you a zillion supplements, but if you're, people come to me with all sorts of things. I get messages with, I got this and this and this and this and thinning hair and wait, I can't lose weight. And you've got 5 things that you'd love to get fixed. But I always bring it back to the emotional status because we can run all the tests, we can do all that stuff. But on the inside, what's going on in your head? What's going on your stress level? Who are you living with? What toxicities are you around emotionally? I can give you a ton of supplements. You're only going to get 50% results if there's something else going on. And the same thing with your immune system and heading into colds. So we'll talk about that.
Now if you live with somebody that causes you stress, we're not saying that you have to run away from them or like change your living situation, but what you do change is how you're handling and dealing with what's showing up in your world. And just wanted to acknowledge a couple people saying good morning. We have Magic Mike joining us saying good morning. We have Shannon saying happy Monday, and we have Megan also saying good morning, happy Monday, friends. Thank you all for tuning in. I see a lot of other people watching, just not commenting. Thank you all for showing up, because that's really the number one thing in anything in life is show up for your own experience.
Mm-hmm.
But where would you what if you had to pick like one thing to, if people are going to just listen to one thing and not the whole broadcast today, what would be the number one thing that you would say, hey, if you take nothing else away from today, this is what to walk away with?
Ernie just posted it. Avoid stress and fear.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, avoid stress and fear. Well, avoid, that's a strong word. Like, yeah, avoid, to a point. But like we are in the world. We are going to be in situations where we're going to be stressed, where we're going to, think we're afraid, but maybe we're feeling excited and ready. It's really like the outlook and being able to choose actions in those moments instead of going into reaction mode. And reaction mode is where we end up having all these learned responses where oh my gosh, we're hitting fight or flight. But what if there's a different possibility? If you were to stop and ask a question, what do I really know about this? And follow your knowing, making a choice instead of a reaction, it's a whole different ballgame then. And Ernie says like, yeah, I know, deal with it. Yeah. And we don't mean like suck it up, either. It's really like there's a ton of tools. And if you watch any of our broadcasts, we give them all the time. How does it get any better than this? And all these things. And we talk a lot about mindset. And today we're going to get a little bit into more other things that you can do to support the body. Because a lot of it's not just mental. I mean, our body has a lot of things that it might require to really give it the tools that it needs to do a lot of things, including, not getting sick, or if you do get sick, moving through it with an element of grace and quickness, so you're not as sick as you would have been.
Correct. They go together. Thanks, Hank. These things go together. It's not like we can eat a bunch of donuts and not expect to get sick, or vice versa, have all this stress and take all the supplements and not expect to get sick. Handling your vehicle, the thing you live in, your house, is just as important as handling your energy. So Ernie touched on this, and this is for sure. We can't avoid stress. The stress will keep coming. Learning to navigate through it better come to our healing clinics, clean off the stress, because there's a way to do that. You can go on the CDC website, and the studies show 90 to 95% of conditions, all kind of illnesses, are caused due to stress. So I always emphasize, do whatever you can in any manner that you can to navigate through your stress, because that is what works its way in. When you feel stress, when you feel tension, you're going to feel pain in your shoulders. You're going to feel pain in your neck. Your knee will start hurting. You feel the constriction. If we can clear that off, the body can relax and do what it needs to do, because inside what's going on biochemically is a fight or flight response. Your catecholamines are, your neurotransmitters are firing. So all this stuff is firing that doesn't need to be firing. And so then the body's not dealing with viruses, bacteria, all these things that are happening, because it's trying to handle the stress that's coming at you. So the more we can do to focus on the fear and the stress, the better your body is going to be able to do what it needs to do. And then let's toss in the supplements and talk about a few things that in conjunction with that will help you, because holidays are approaching. Sugars are going to be coming at you, and we'll talk more about that. I don't know if Hank you have a thought or something Hank you wanted to say.
Wait, no. I was just thinking, like, last year around this time, and maybe I'll do this class again. I taught a class called Entities and In-Laws Dealing with the Crazies, and so maybe that would be another class I should teach this year. It's just like an all around good class.
Family is always
Oh yeah, and my acronym for family. I think I got it ready here. Let me see.
Yeah, go ahead.
Here we go. Here's the acronym for family: fucked up and mainly interested in limiting you. And we mean that in the greatest deal of respect, because as a parent, I don't intend to screw my kids up at all, but I still do a pretty good job of, doing things where afterwards I'm like, oh, I just stuck them with a point of view. I just stuck them with this. We don't always intend to limit people, but oftentimes family they have a lot of points of view about who you should be when you show up for them. So a nice little acronym to get you through the family holiday
They
times.
Are triggers. Yeah.
For
so
sure.
When you constantly have these little things, that causes another stress in the body. So the more you can pull in and work on you, come to our healing clinic so we can clean up some of those cords that your family or friends put into you or make you feel a certain way. Let's clean that up, because we can do that for you and teach you things to help you stay as calm as possible, even when family is poking at you.
Oh, yeah.
So,
and Dr. K mentioned it a couple times in the link to this video. On the first and third Monday of every month, Dr. K and I do an energy clinic where we just focus either a single session or a double, in person or Zoom, where we just help to get rid of all the stuff that isn't yours energetically, because we are very empathic beings, and Access teaches us that like 98% of your thoughts, feelings, and emotions you might have an awareness of, but they may not be yours. So if you can get rid of all that, and then you can deal with the 2% that actually is yours, that's a huge source of the stress right there. And if you have any sort of corporate job, stressed people work harder. So like the corporate environment is designed for you to be stressed and worry about losing your job or not getting the promotion, or, oh my gosh, like whatever the case is. We are entrained really to have that fight or flight response all the time, because that edge that you're riding makes you more productive. So relax is the number one word of the day. Meditate.
Work and family. So meditation is number one. If you can find a way you don't know where to start, come to the healing clinics and start on, we'll probably recommend you start on some sort of meditation process, 5-10 minutes a day, whatever and wherever you can go, even if it's in your closet. You have a client she gets in her closet. Well, you know who I'm talking about, because the kids and all. So you got to lock yourself up somewhere, sit on the ground of your closet if you have to, get a little flashlight and do 5 minutes of some deep breathing, 10 minutes of some deep breathing, put some headphones and listen to something. It will make a world of a difference. I tell my clients, I'm like, do I have to do this repetitively? Yes, you have to do it, because you get to that tipping point of 51% where it comes a point where you will flip and you're like, oh, I'm not reacting as much as I usually do. It does help.
And if you go on our YouTube channel, like there is like an entire segment we did on just meditation. I'll go ahead and post a link to it in the comments. So if you want to like take a deeper dive into meditation, because we're going to talk about a lot of things today, you can click the link and check out that whole segment. But even if you go to work, and even before getting out of the car, taking 5 minutes in your car before going in, anything is a start. Yes. And as you start that, you build on it, and it becomes easier and even greater than when you started. It just keeps building on itself.
Can't emphasize that enough. And I have clients that are like, well, I didn't do it last week. Oh, I forgot. consistent action yields consistent results. So if you consistently do something, you're going to start seeing results. I forgot to take this. I forgot to do this. I didn't do this. I got, consistency, just showing up consistently, doing something consistently. When I first started, this is kind of what I started with, just focusing on my breath. I would turn off the lights. I'd sit in the computer room, and my cat would jump on my lap, and I'd just sit there and I'd just focus on my breath for 15 minutes. It started to make a world of a difference. It really, really did. So I can't emphasize that enough.
Yeah, breathwork by itself is amazing. And there's the positive pineapple. I know Tony sometimes comments in our videos, and they do, like, I think monthly, they do, like, in winter, they do cold plunging in like a lake, and they do breath work, and like that is a huge contribution. And he does streams all the time. If you look up Positive Pineapple on Facebook or YouTube, they have a ton of videos where they walk people through breath work. It's an amazing resource. Now, besides meditation, I'll start with mine. If you feel like I'm a certified aromatherapist, and one thing that we have is this cool little guy. It's like Flew Away Roll On. And what you want to do is, like, if you feel yourself starting to come down with something, or you know you're going to be on a plane or in a situation where you're going to be around a lot of people that could potentially be sick, you can start doing an aromatherapy blend. And I'll just read the ingredients. You can make your own at home: jojoba oil or olive oil for the carrier. But this has tea tree, which is one of the most, allegedly, because I'm not a medical doctor, I'm not claiming to diagnose a curative disease. Tea tree, which is really great for anti-everything, anti-viral, bacterial, antifungal. Lemon, thyme. Thyme is really good for increased white blood cell production. Yeah. Oregano, eucalyptus, and orange. And you can add all those oils in some sort of carrier or a cream, and you just add that a couple times a day, and that will naturally boost your immune system. So if you were to get sick, then you're going to have a much quicker time getting through it. We used to call this cold killer. And then during the H1N1 scare, we renamed it Flew Away. But any of those types of things, or even teas that have those types of ingredients, can all be a huge benefit to the body.
Absolutely. And touching on that, the other thing you can do is take just some coconut oil, take drops of each of those individual. Was it oregano, eucalyptus, lemon, right? Thyme. Yep. What else was in there? There's something else.
I said tea tree. Even tea tree by itself is like a huge contribution. And you can even, if you don't want to do oils, like say you're not a big oil proponent, you could go to a place like Trader Joe's. There's the Melaleuca tea tree from New Zealand, tea tree honey rather, that the bees pollinate the tea tree plant, and the oil is naturally pleasant in the honey. And they make salves and other like creams and stuff out of this honey because it naturally has the tea tree, and that naturally boosts your immunity as well. And so you can even do it just with the food that you eat. Like, there's all these opportunities for choice, that making these little choices of your diet or whatever can really make a big impact on what your body has to work with.
Yeah, take those. So you could take those oils, a few drops of each, and you don't have to do a lot, right? They're super concentrated, so it's just 2-3 drops, you'd say, is plenty? Like
in 1 ounce, up to 14 drops combined. Whoa, there's a lot of background noise.
People they're mowing the lawn. Wow. my new place. But you could take those and just drop them in coconut oil, and then you can rub them on the bottom of your feet. Your feet have very large pores, so it will absorb it.
And most of us wear shoes. Like if you run around barefoot all the time, you might have a little bit more not as permeable of a foot. But bottom of the feet, the pulse points, behind the ears, carotid arteries, those are all places to apply the oils where that gets into the skin. And you talked about concentrated. 1 drop of peppermint oil, just to give an example, is equivalent to drinking like 30 cups of peppermint tea. So it really, with oils, less is more. And having too much of an oil can cause the opposite of an intended effect. Like peppermint is a vascular dilator. It can help with headaches. But if you use too much peppermint, you get a peppermint headache because it overstimulates the blood flow, and then it's like a huge head rush. It causes a migraine. So like you always want to say less is more.
Less is more, for sure. Yep. So that's something you can do. I have a little jar. You can get them. I don't know. World Market has or wherever you can go. Just a tiny little jar. Take a spoon. I put some coconut oil in this little jar. You can melt it slightly and then drop some of these drops and combine it all, mix it, and then let it harden a little bit. And then you just put it on. I put on the bottoms of my feet, get the absorption. That's one thing you can do. We'll give a lot of tips today that you can put that on daily as we get into the colder season. Sorry for the grass. I needed to shut my window and I didn't. Let's see. The number probably number 3 at this. So stress, number 1, you can use these roll-ons, essential oils, number 2. Number 3, sugar. Sugar is just, it's really detrimental to sugar and alcohol.
Oh man, I was excited. I thought you were going to say to eat sugar. I'm like, this is the first time I've ever heard Dr. K say this, but it's the opposite.
Avoiding sugar. We're getting into the holidays. I have friends notoriously that, Christmas comes and notoriously get sick when they go out and have a couple glasses of wine or a couple drinks. It notoriously brings down your immune system. I forget what the statistics are. I want to say it's like 5 grams of sugar or 10 grams of sugar brings down your immune system for a half hour or 45 minutes, like instantaneously. So it's no coincidence that, November comes, Thanksgiving comes, Christmas comes, and people start getting more sick because they're eating all these goodies and drinking wine and drinking mixed drinks at parties, etc. And then a couple of days later, well, the flu comes on. And especially when you're stressed, you're really opening the window for all that. So I really suggest to bring that to a curtail.
Now, is it a particular amount of sugar like that as a threshold? Because I mean, sugar's in so many things; it's hard to avoid it completely. Is there like a certain
like
amount?
processed sugar.
Okay.
I can't. I'm trying to remember the statistic, and I should have written it down. I want to say it's like 5 or 10 grams of sugar. But if you eat a lot of processed food, that's affecting your stomach because 75% of your immune system is actually in your gut. So this is why when you eat sugar, it degrades your stomach. And it has an effect on the stomach is basically what I'm saying. And so when that happens, your immune system goes down instantaneously and you're more open and prone to bacterial and viral conditions. So
Now,
this is why it's avoiding sugar.
Would a probiotic be a contribution as you head into the winter months
Yes,
too?
that was my next point. Yeah. Get on probiotics, guys. And if you need suggestions, please let me know. I can set you up for a link through a physician dispensary that I use called FullScript. They carry FDA, pretty much all FDA certified products, meaning the FDA has looked at these products, known that they've been diluted, done properly, cleaned properly. If you go to places like GNC, Drug Mart, I cannot vouch for those items because they're often not made properly. The ingredients are a lot of fillers. You don't know what you're getting. Majority of the products at FullScript, if not all of the products, are really, really high quality. Yes, they're a little bit more expensive, but you get what you pay for. You'd rather get a probiotic that's going to do you some good. You want like 25 to 50 billion different strains of probiotics because your gut is big. It's got a big profile. I run GI profile tests that actually we test your stool to see which ones you're lacking and which ones are associated with different conditions. So it is really important to get a good variety, not just lactobacillus, acidophilus, and nothing else. You need an array. So 25 to 50 billion of all different kinds of strains. And I usually switch those up every 2 to 3 months because you don't want that particular probiotic overpopulating. So if we switch to something else, it's a new group of stuff, and then we go back to the other one, and it keeps your commensal bacteria at a nice variety.
Just a story to share with that. My dad had been in a nursing home for a while because of an injury, and they had him on antibiotics for a really long time. And I was advocating for a probiotic, and the physician said, "Oh no, there was a study," and she quoted the study and said, "There's no discernible difference at all, etc." And I went and looked up the study right afterwards, and the people were on the exact same probiotic. And for one, it was like a small group of people. She was quoting a study of like 10 people, and those 10 people were on the exact same probiotic for 12 months. And there reaches a point if you're using just one of diminishing returns. It is like, I'm just making the point to emphasize even more that every 2 to 3 months changing up the probiotic creates a lot more because there's so many different strains. You want to continuously give your gut a new type of probiotic to enhance it.
Yep. And there's a few high quality ones that I use regardless of testing. Typically when I get tests back, I typically use a specific brand because they are pretty broad spectrum. You want a broad spectrum probiotic. Some people just, when I started off, I didn't know all these things 10 years ago, 12 years ago. Somebody said, well, go get this one. Go get Cultrell at Giant Eagle. And all it has is acidophilus and lactobacillus acidophilus. And I'm like, well, that's great. And it did help. I can tell you guys hands down as a vouching for myself, when I started probiotic use, I got sick so much less. And knock on wood, I've not had anything in 3 to 4 years. I've been doing it's mild within 2 days, it's gone, and it's not even full blown.
Yeah, like
So
sometimes I'll just feel a cold almost coming on, and there's like 1 or 2
yeah,
days where I feel it, and then it just goes away. So like even if I mean, because everybody potentially can be subjected to some sort of illness, but how quickly you move through it is really like how much have you been taking care of your body. Just like your car, we take way better care of our cars sometimes than we do our bodies because we're changing the oil, we're doing the maintenance.
yeah,
But what are you actually doing for the vehicle of you
yeah,
that's keeping it so it can deal with these things that it might come across? And Mike
exactly.
is asking for the link for the probiotics and things. I don't know if you can easily get
Mike,
that.
if you could message me on Facebook, and I will. I have to send the link to you because it has to go through a physician. So they give physicians this link, and then you have to start an account. So it's basically I just send you the link with your name so that you have access. It's just not kind of for the general public, but you can search any. Once you get on there, you can search whatever you want, or I can make recommendations, and then it can just tell you. So if you want that recommendation, I can link that to you as well. So just direct message me.
And just to speak to it too, because you mentioned that there's tests where you can see like what probiotic
Mhm.
potentially, what bacteria you're
Yep.
missing. If
Yep.
somebody was interested in that, I know that you have the Profile Emergence of Being, you have your own website as well. Like what would be the process if somebody wanted to get a deeper knowing of what would be specifically good for them? How would they do that through you?
Just message me, or you can get on my website page, and there's you can email me, create a consultation, and we do a biofeedback analysis, and as well then we'll talk about the test, everything that it goes through. And by the way, these tests you don't have to come to my office to do. It's all sent to your home. Hank's already kind of done one, although you had to
Yep.
come in because
I
it's a
got
blood test.
yeah. Which is,
But
I always had issues with like needles and blood and everything. I was expecting that Dr. K was going to have to like carry me over to my office and like lay me on the floor or something. But we did like some clearing work before that, and it really helped. And it's amazing, like all the lab people, they just come right out to the office or wherever, and
yeah,
you don't
I
have
have
to.
a phlebotomist that comes to the office, so she does all the. She's great. She's super. So yeah, everything. But the GI profile test, it's a gut. It's called the Gut Zoomer. I have 2 different companies that I use. Everything's sent to your home. You do everything at home. They send you a box with a FedEx bag. You do everything. I have to just write the requisition. It gets sent to your home. You do your thing, and you send it to FedEx. And then within 2 to 3 weeks, you'll have the result, and we'll know what's going on inside your gut. And that's a great place to
You
start.
know, maybe we should do a live stream too, just on food sensitivities. I'm going to mention it briefly here because I feel like that's a test that I had Dr. K do for me with the blood work was like food allergies, food sensitivities, food additive sensitivities. Like I never realized like there's like something in my toothpaste that I'm really sensitive to. For example,
Yeah.
it's like a thickening agent. It's all natural, but it's like a thickening agent. I was some of the food colorings I have a high sensitivity to, and if you're putting things that your body is sensitive to in your body and it's dealing with that with a histamine reaction or whatever else goes on with the food sensitivity, there's that many of your body's resources that aren't dealing with other things. So it
Right.
might be a good contribution to know like, hey, what is my body sensitive to? Like a cantaloupe. Like I never would have thought cantaloupe was like a food sensitivity, but it's not like an allergy where I'm getting sick. But if I eat cantaloupe, I've even noticed it. Like I have to really be in the mood and to eat that and only a couple bites. So it's almost like my body knows. But I
Mhm.
thought it was an eye-opening experience seeing like things that I never dreamed that I would have a reaction to. And then the big thing is like, what if out of 40 things I'm not allergic, but has sensitivities to, if I'm eating something that has 5 of those 40 things, now it's like stacking on top of each other.
Yeah.
And because have you ever eaten a meal and you're just like something's off? Maybe it's because you've been stacking a whole bunch of sensitive items and your body's just like, stop it. And you'll never know unless you get like some sort of test, and it's not something that traditional doctors look for, but it
No.
was super beneficial for me. So let's do one, and we can even use my test as like to show people like what
Yeah,
comes
we
back.
could. Yeah, if you're willing to scratch your name out and show what
Yeah,
it looks like, yeah,
I
we
don't even
can
care if they
talk about
scratch my
that.
name out. They don't. They can know what. Then they'll know like if they want to come to my house, but they want to leave with their potluck item unscathed. They can put all the stuff I can't eat in there.
Yeah, these tests are so valuable because they tell you exactly what you need, and versus hey doc, my stomach's upset, and here's your whatever, here's your Nexium, or it could be totally something different, and sometimes we got to dig and find what that is. But yeah, definitely focusing, getting the appropriate probiotic, and not pulling something off the shelf. It may or may not be good. I think it might be a decent start for somebody that's never ever done anything, but why not just get a good broad spectrum, something that will help you? Because I can tell you, and I've had 2 friends that have gone on probiotics, that the level at which they are getting colds is so much less to none. And it's a game changer for sure.
Yep. Wow, we're already at 25 minutes. It's amazing. So like probiotic aside, like other supplements, like there's ones, what about colloidal silver? That's something that I
Yep.
just recently got. I believe that especially in the past, that was like a big thing for people and even doctors when they were seeing sick patients, that they would take colloidal silver to boost their immune system.
Colloidal silver is great to start. It's tasteless, so you can put it under your tongue. I just put it under my tongue, hold it for a second, and just swallow it. Um, that's something that I do start, and I started when COVID started. Zinc is really good too. I like Vimergy brand. It's they make it apple tasting because zinc can be, although you can also get it on full script. So if you want to link to full script, I can get it through to there. But Vimergy, at least they combine it with an apple taste because zinc can taste pretty crappy. So zinc sulfate is usually a good one to start with. Around this time, probably 30 milligrams a day. Some people are too high in zinc, so a lot of times I will run people's blood tests because you have plenty. If you have plenty of zinc, I don't need to give you more.
Right.
But the zinc's really, really important mineral. Super, super important.
Yep, and Magic Mike was actually offering that before, like when we first started, but we were talking about something else. Zinc and VD3. What is VD3? I haven't heard of that one.
Maybe he means versus D3.
Versus D3? Well,
Like
Magic Mike, if you're
versus
still
zinc
listening,
versus, or
tell
both.
us.
You want both. Vitamin D3 acts like a hormone. It acts as a neurotransmitter. It acts as a vitamin. It's not even a vitamin because it has so many different properties. It acts on the gut. It helps neurotransmitters function better. So vitamin D3 is super important. So as we're heading into the sun's like not out as much anymore, you want to take about 5 to 7,000 IUs daily. IUs. So people they tell me they're taking 1,000. It's not enough, especially not going into what we're doing now. And you want to take vitamin D3 plus K2. Really important. The K2 mitigates where calcium is being transported in your body. This is something I didn't know a couple of years ago. Really important because calcium can like float around in your system and it doesn't know where to go. This kind of tells it where to go and what to do so it doesn't get stuck somewhere else and create calcifications. So really, really important. And if you don't know what your vitamin D levels are, you could be too high. This is the other thing. You want a vitamin D level somewhere between, I'd say 45 to 55, preferably sitting around 50 to 55. I have somebody that I put on and she was taking, she overcompensated. And she was at like 93 when I tested her blood group. Too high. You don't want that high.
Yeah. And that's my next test I'm planning to get done through you is the one that there's a whole panel that you can do that tells you all your levels of everything.
Of every
and
vitamin.
That takes the guesswork out of like, well, what supplements do I need? What supplements don't I need? What do I have too much of? And then I have a question for you, but I'll bring this up from Sarah first. She was just sharing, I love this conversation. I've been using functional nutrition for quite a while. Awesome.
Yep.
My question is there a particular, like all these supplements we're talking about, is there a particular time of day that's best to take them? Are there things that you don't take together? Like I know iron and calcium, for example, don't always get along together, can cause like leg cramps and things. So like, what would you suggest in terms of what people take when?
Yes. So there's kind of, I've heard two different things in vitamin D. Take it before 11 o'clock or because it might keep you awake. I had a colleague that said it, and she did some research and it said that if you take it after 11 a.m., it'll keep you awake in the evening. I've not found that to be true. I've read another study to take it in the evening. With vitamin D, though, I will tell you for sure, hands down, all the studies show it's a fat-based vitamin. So you need to take it. It enters the cell better when you take it with a fat. So a tablespoon of almond butter, some nuts, if you're eating a particular meat, and take it with a digestive enzyme. Digestive enzymes are super important because a lot of us are not digesting our food properly. If you take your vitamin D take it with food, so that's probably the best recommendation, and take a digestive enzyme so it helps the vitamin get digested too and integrated into your system. So I would say evening is fine. Just take it with food.
One other thing that I know I used to do, and I have it in the cupboard, and every once in a while it just like shines to me that, hey, I need to take it. But echinacea and golden seal are also really good for the immune system, though I think it is a little hard I think on the liver, potentially.
Yes, golden seal.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so like that's another great. Then I get that as a tea that I'll sometimes drink, and it's delicious. It is something like if you're drinking some alcohol and things like that, since it is hard on the liver, then you may want to make sure you're not doing other things. But that's a whole other conversation. Like
We
don't
could
do
go.
things to yeah,
Yeah.
a whole other conversation with alcohol and all that kind of stuff. But are there any other teas and things that you might recommend that people could take going into the winter months?
I think echinacea tea is a great choice to start with. Vitamin C, you want to start. Vitamin C has had different studies. It's not like the main big, I would say zinc way better and way stronger than vitamin C, but vitamin C has a lot of different components for skin, for cellular function. So, and it has a conjunctive effect with the immune system. So, probably about 2,000 milligrams a day as we head into winter. Um, there's so many other different things. N-acetylcysteine, really great immune booster. They're trying to actually take it off the market. The government's trying to get it off, so it's kind of
Oh no.
back ordered in a lot of places. But because it has really great effects on the lungs, it works on the heart. It has so many wonderful properties. So that's another one you can take as a side note. But we don't want everybody taking a zillion supplements. It's never the goal, but really heavy hitters. I use a company called Doctor Recommends. It goes along with my device. I use something called Immunopoi as we head into winter to kind of boost a little bit. So it's just a dropper like this, and if you can see, yeah, and you just put it under the tongue, hold it for 15 to 20 seconds, and you know
Mm.
drink it down. And then you can't eat or drink or anything for about 10 to 15 minutes to let that integrate. So, and
Yeah.
it has thymus in here. It has all the glandulars like your adenoids, your thymus, appendix, liver, spleen, tonsil, bovine. So these are all glandulars for all those organs that are immune boosters, or not immune boosters, immune mitigators. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, and there's I will post a website. Joe Matson worked with Sherry Edwards, and she has a whole website with free sound tools that, like, they figured out the frequency of COVID, for example, and then they made music that would support the immune system, specific not just for COVID, but for a lot of different things. It's like coronadefense.org, and I'll look up the website and post it. But it's all free tools that you can use, and also foods that you can eat specific to different things. I'll post that. Sarah was saying that traditional medicinals has a great one called Gypsy Cold Care. Is that something you're aware of, Dr. K, or do you
I
have
don't
any?
know about that one. I have to see the ingredients. There's a zillion products out there, guys. Just make sure that the company that you're using is a good company. Like the doctor recommends, I have to get these typically. It's NDC regulated, so there's a number right up on top here. National Drug Control. That means the National Drug Control has looked at this. It has asked for the dilutions in the lab to make sure everything's done cleanly. It wants the records, and there's no other preservatives in here. Nothing. There's just alcohol and water. A lot of these other, I mean, I don't know. It could be a fantastic product. I just don't know anything about it. So I don't want to
Yeah.
comment on something I don't know much about.
And the other thing, like when it comes to any of these things, it's paramount to understand that your body and the being are two separate things. The body, you work together with the body, and a lot of us have cut off our awareness and our communication with the body. Like I didn't want to be a vegan. I didn't want to be gluten free. I listened to my body, and my body's like, "Yo, dum dum, you're eating a lot of vegan substitutes. Stop it," And then I listened to it, and I believe I'll be able to reintroduce like bread items again in the future. I might even be able to reintroduce non plant based things in the future. But what contribution could you and your body be together if you broke down the walls of communication and actually started to be in communion with yourself? Because a lot of us think our body is working against us, and it's just that we haven't been talking to our body. It's like driving your car but no hands on the steering wheel, like you're all over the place. Like what would it be if you actually started working together with your vehicle, and you would have greater direction, you had a greater purpose, you would be able to look at the gauges and know, hey, it needs fuel, it needs this, it needs that. You would get the idiot lights coming on, hey, dum dum, stop eating this. But truly, like, get in touch with the body and realize that one of the greatest contributions going into the winter is asking the body and being able to communicate with it. Body, what do you require going into the winter months so that you have everything that you need? And maybe a certain supplement will shine to you. Though, if it's not a barrier, I would highly recommend get at least the initial thing with Dr. K, where she hooks you up to the biofeedback machine and you get all the readout. But I also went and I did the blood work because I wanted to know from the lab. Also, could justify for people who say, oh, that stuff isn't doesn't work, like, well, look at the blood work. The blood work concurs what the biofeedback machine said. And then it just, if you have someone in your house that's not as open to the more alternative things, blood work doesn't lie. It comes from a lab. And some people that are more science mindset might appreciate that. But it's all good. And it's really good to know what you're dealing with.
Yeah. So people have questions about, or they would like me to fix a lot of things. I work alongside the primary care, even though I've come from both ends. I used to do surgery. I used to feed people medications. I used to give narcotics. I used to do all that stuff. And I'm like, I'm not helping people with this. So I've done that, but I'm not a primary care. So I don't, if your lungs are bad or they just don't sound right, or there's crackling and you come to me, will probably suggest that you see your primary care, get a chest x-ray, see what's going on first. So I have a little bit of a diagnosis to work with. So I kind of have an idea. Yes, there's something here. No, there's not something to deal with. We don't know. We don't know what it is. If you're having anxiety and all these things, there's so many different causes as to why that's occurring. And sometimes it's tangled up, but a lot of times it's an emotional thing. So please see your primary care first and get whatever you need to get testing wise, because I don't order those tests. I order the deeper tests. I don't do chest x-rays. I don't do ultrasounds. I don't do vascular studies. Used to order all that stuff. Probably still can, but it's going to be a little out of my realm. It's too much. I can't do both ends. I usually see people once they've seen the primary care multiple times, can't get a result. We kind of look deeper and see what else we can find. And we look into the emotional piece because it's a huge component. So
it is. And
huge.
And when I was going through some stuff a couple of months ago, we did I always bet Parametis. Did I get it right?
Yes.
All right. Parametis process. I finally got it right. It's only taken me like a year to get that pronunciation right. Parametis process, where it was like all the times you felt shame and guilt, like it walks through, and then it's amazing. It reminded me of when I was going through therapy and we were using EMDR, which is eye movement desensitization reprogramming, that how you're going through the process, all of a sudden these memories start popping. And as we were going through this process with Dr. K, all these things were starting to pop and we were able to clear it. I was in tears multiple times during that session. And so like, there's like some really golden things that if you do have something going on in your world emotionally, Dr. K has tools like that. I have sound healing and shamanism. We have the clinic where we work together. Like you have both of us for 15 or 30 minutes, depending how long the session you get on the clinics. And it is phenomenal to really start to get the emotional piece and the physical piece start to be under control.
One thing that just came through, that's been coming through for me for the past 2 weeks, I really feel you cannot have optimal health without joy. You got to tackle that piece. You got to tackle and get that vibration level higher. You are having you're going to be working against the grain if you are angry, frustrated, grieving. All those things need released. You will find that you will heal so much faster and better when we get forgiveness for wherever you're stuck, helping you get some more joy in life, raising your vibration. You can smile a little more. The body will heal so much faster. So that's a really big thing that's been coming through for me to tell people for the past 2 weeks. Yep.
And one great tool, and this is a mantra, say it 10 times in the morning, 10 times at night. Every time you're at a red light, every time at a stop sign, it's the mantra of access consciousness. All of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. Like, as if you don't know where to start, a mantra like that can start shifting things. A lot of you know the story. When I got sober, there was a mantra, self-pity and gratitude cannot coexist. That was my bread and butter for a year. And it took a long time, but there became a shift where instead of just a word game and me saying it, I started to feel gratitude. And gratitude is like a gradient of joy, in my opinion. There's like everything's a gradient. And I was slowly moving until I got to this tipping point where I'm like, oh my God, I'm not just saying self-pity and gratitude cannot coexist. I'm actually being grateful now. And so if you say something like this every single day, or if you're a why asker, you know who you are. Why, universe, is this happening to me? Like, this is how to get out of that. What else is possible? Stops the why. And that tells the universe I'm ready for something different. Because if you ask why, you'll experience it again. So instead of saying, why am I not joyful? Say, all of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. What else is possible now? And let the universe show you what is possible. And you will end up creating and receiving more joy in your life. But stay the course. Stay the course. Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't happen overnight. It took me a year. It can help. And I was a dummy. I didn't go to get help with anybody. Like, I wasn't going to someone like me or Dr. K back then. If I could go back there, I would have been seeking out people that could have helped me fast track that. Instead of taking a year, maybe I could have done it in a week or a month or something like that. So like, seek resources and don't feel we were taught the only person you can count on is you. What if there are people out there that truly want to be a contribution to you, to help you be a better you? Because the greatest gift that all of us are is to be our unique voice in this world. That's what I believe. I know Dr. K believes that. That's why we get along so well, right? but truly, what else is possible?
Yeah, totally. It's so important. Like really, it's such a strong message. Raise your joy vibration, because even the cold, the back pain, all those things will be so much less when you're in more joy, and it will pass through much faster and resolve much faster. Right, Hank? When you're going through your little thing with
Oh yeah.
back pain, once you release the tension of whatever it is that's holding you back, things release in your life. They just
Oh yes.
release. So
It
we've got
definitely
to
does.
we got to find that. And some people like to stay in certain spots. Like I have certain clients that keep recall. I'm like, let's snap you out of this. You got to think differently, because the more you keep harboring that, and I know we like to be in comfortable spots. We know how to control this, but it makes a huge effect on your immune system and your health. Huge. So I can give you a zillion of these, but if you have high stress, it's going to affect your system in every way, in every shape, and form. So we can't get rid of stress, but you know, the more we can navigate through it with ease and clean it up and clear it and make it from a level 10 to a level of 3, you're going to feel so much better. You really, truly will. And food, we should probably talk about food, avoiding processed food, anything in a box, can, jar. I'd
Oh
probably
man.
avoid, well,
No,
I
I
guess
do
if
way
it's
better.
read
I
your
do way better now.
ingredients. And
Yeah.
gluten, thanks for bringing up gluten. Gluten damages the stomach. It affects the thyroid. So if you can get rid of gluten, it will make, there's a book called The Wheat Belly.
Yeah.
There's a section that talks all about gluten and the huge effect that it has. Please
And
guys,
I
try gluten free.
Yeah, and I had a huge resistance to going gluten free. Like I was living on avocado toast. Like ever since COVID, like I've had avocado toast like so much. I
Love
don't know what it is.
avocados.
Well, ironically, actually, on Joe's website, which I did post a link to, one of the things to eat to boost the immune system was avocado. So like, what did my body know? But then the one day, my body's just like, no more gluten, and I was like, what? No, are you kidding me? But I listened to it, and it was like way easier. There, I found like really good gluten-free breads that you could read all the ingredients. There's gluten-free pasta. There's like a lot of things. The one of the final things perhaps to talk about is like energy work and how that can be a contribution. I'm not going to walk people through it here. I'm going to post a link to the Sonic Shaman YouTube channel. This one link I call it Activating the Seat of the Soul, and it's talking about the thymus. And I'm sure Dr. K can talk about the importance of the thymus as well. And there's tuning forks for the thymus to help with the thymus health and all that. But there's this one energy flow from Access that going through it, it helps to activate the thymus, boost the immune system. There's also MTVSS from Access Consciousness, where you do the immune system points. That is a huge contribution. And we have like a bars clinic. I'm going to start calling it an Access clinic, because truly, like, we could offer more than just bars during this clinic. But there's like things that can boost the immune system, things that are good for vision, zero sum of trauma. There's so many things. But today, thymus exercise, I'm posting a link to it now.
Yeah, thymus is. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I just posted the link so you guys
Okay.
can. It's like a 7-minute walkthrough of how to run that energy process for yourself. And once you have it anchored, you could be out in the store or anywhere else and just say thymus energies run, and it's going to run. And it's a huge contribution. And it's one of the tools that we go over in a bars class. Shameless plug: if you're not watching on a replay, October 29th, I have Heather McMillan coming out to teach a bars class. It's going to be amazing. So please join us. It's a Friday, right before the Talk to the Entities 2-day workshop. So shameless plugs, but it's one of the things we go over in the bars class as well. And the bars is a huge contribution for the immune system. And now, what more about the thymus?
The thymus is often so overlooked by doctors. They're saying, because when we are born, the thymus is big. It looks big because we're small, so it's about our size. As we get older, we just get bigger. The thymus doesn't shrink. It stays the same size as it was when we were younger. It's just we get bigger, our bodies get bigger. But the thymus is a huge modulator with killer cells and a certain type of white blood cell. So it's a big guy with importance of your immune system. And I have the same company making a specific thymus glandular. So it's called thymus. That's all it is. It's in it. It's a glandular that supports your thymus gland and your immune system. And often I see that coming up on the device. So the items I use are very specific for environmental toxins, viruses, bacteria. So it's supportive just for that one thing and to detox you from that item, a virus, a bacteria, whatever you have going on at that time. So the thymus is a big dude that the doctors often say, oh, it's not that important. Yes, it is. It's very, very important.
Yeah, and there's also tuning forks. Like if you go to emergenceofbeing.com and click on the web store, it will take you to my my tuning fork site, and there's like this endocrine system set of tuning forks, which includes for the thymus, for the thymus, thyroid, thymus, gonads, and like there's two other forks that are all really supportive for the endocrine system. But the thymus fork by itself, that is like such a great contribution, because if your thymus is out of whack, it's sympathetic resonance. So like there's Barbara Hero who did all this work with figuring out the healthy frequencies of organs, and it's all science based. And if you have an organ that's out of whack, you can use the frequency of a healthy organ or frequencies of healthy organs to help bring the organ into sympathetic resonance with the healthy frequency and help it to potentially heal. I have to say potentially because I'm not a medical doctor and all that, but that's a great tuning fork set. Or if you don't want to invest in tuning forks, Jill Matson, since I mentioned her before, she has one CD called Deep Wave Body Healing, and it is music all set to the tones of the organs. So just listening to the music can help support the not just the immune system but the entire body, and it's really a phenomenal. I like all of Jill's work. I'm a little bit biased. Oh, Sarah. Well, actually, Sarah was asking two things. Can you see Dr. K if you're not local? Big yes. She does everything virtually. Maybe there are other people like me that aren't in Ohio. In fact, Sarah just moved out to Colorado. I believe it's Colorado. And I got a message from her. She's literally driving through Cleveland. She's like, I'm waving to you right now. I'm like, man, we should have met for coffee. I'm like, I have to go out to Colorado now.
You're in a good place, though. There's just, I want to go to one of the springs. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, she has been posting pictures on Facebook of like where they're going for hikes and walks and stuff. It is absolutely spectacular. So like I'm glad that she moved out somewhere that I really want to visit, because I miss Sarah a lot.
We're coming to you, Sarah.
Yeah, we're gonna come out to you. I told her scout out places for the Shaman apprenticeship program. Maybe we could do like a hot ton car pie over in Colorado. It would be awesome. But Sarah wanted to speak a little bit more about how to work with both of us. And for both of us, we do on the first and third Mondays of every month, we do a healing clinic where you can do a session in person or via Zoom. And the next one is tonight, actually. So you can register for that at emergenceofbeing.com, and I'll post a link. Beyond that, we both can still work together, but she has her website, I have my site, and we both work with people virtually. I do more like life coaching type stuff virtually, but I can even do sound healing. All of it works online. Dr. K, all her stuff works online too.
Everything works online. Healings I do, they work online. The biofeedback actually, believe it or not, works virtually. Most people are like, well, how does that work? Well, how does your phone work when you call somebody in Italy? Do you know? No. Do you see that signal going all the way across the whole nation? No. The biofeedback just captures you. It captures your birthday, your name. And I have done sessions in Wisconsin. I've done sessions in Chicago. I've done sessions in Michigan. And people feel the effects the next day. They truly do. So yes, it's lovely to have you in front of me and in person and hooked up, but it will find, and I can zoom it so you can see the screen too. We go through it together so you can kind of see people like, oh, look at that. That's I have tooth problem. Yeah. So they do see it. I do share some of that information so that people can see it, not all of it, because it's very fine tuned. But yes, everything works virtually. Kits then are sent to your home if there's something we need to do, talk about. I do coaching and this. It's because it's combined, and the energy healings also, all the healings that I do work virtually very, very well, by the way. So,
yeah, and I'm posting a lot of stuff today because we have a lot of resources for you. If you want to see how the biofeedback machine works, like way back last year when we first started doing live streaming, there was an example session where Dr. K had the machine hooked up to me and went through like a kind of a sample session, not like the whole thing, but it even picked up like pesticides and things. And when I was in high school, I worked at a hardware store, and I remember getting sick whenever I had to clean like the aisle where all the pesticides were. So like everything this machine brought up was like right on the money. And if you want to kind of see how the screen looks and what you kind of get out of it, that is a great video that I just posted. You can
do you have that link?
I posted the link.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. So you can get on there and you can see what it looks like. You can see what the screen looks like. Obviously it's Hank's body. It's not yours. But it will pick up your things, and from there I'm like, okay, your digestive system's coming up, these toxins are coming up. I can ship you these items as well, or hook you up to full script so you can get probiotics and things that you want from there. You can get Golden Seal through there. Golden Seal, like Hank said, is it's great. I love Golden Seal, but it's one of those things you can take for a week, and then you have to take a break for about 2 weeks, and then you can restart it because it is tough on the liver.
Yeah, that's the same thing. Like when I recommended like the aromatherapy blend, this is something that you don't use indefinitely. Like you use it when you think you might be going into a situation like a flight or a train ride or an office party, that maybe a couple days before you do something to help give your immune system a boost. But if you continue doing it, then it kind of falls to the background. So it's things like that you do just in a short-term thing, and then maybe switch it to something else so your body's not building up a tolerance to any one particular thing or whatnot.
Absolutely.
Cool. Wow, we were all over the place with a lot of good information today. Is there anything? Oh, let me get the clinic link, because I posted so many links. We might as well post one more, right? And now I redid the Emergence Being website. So now when you go there under classes and events, all the monthly things are all at the top, and in parentheses it tells you when it is. So like the monthly energy clinic we do first and third Mondays. My sound bath is on the fourth Fridays, which is coming up this upcoming Friday if you're interested in a sound bath. And this week's topic, or this month's topic, is all connecting with your spirit guides and clearing entities, because it's Halloween. So I figured, entity themed is good. And I may or may not be having a surprise for people on that one. I'm not going to say what it is, but I might be planning something else to go along with that. The monthly wellness fair with Goddess Elite, and then it goes through and tells you all the monthly, not the monthly, but the one-time events that we have, like the Talk to the Entities class coming up with Heather and those types of things. So now let me get the link. While I post this link for the healing clinic, any final thought of what to tell people? Oh, actually, let me throw this one up. Yay, that's fantastic. One bonus from this pandemic: a lot of small businesses have learned that the boundaries of location can be dropped.
Isn't that great?
Was huge. In fact, live streaming, that was all because of COVID. I was hosting a class with Zane Kerfman, and we had to go from in person to virtual. And I just had to stop from Spirit to start a podcast or a live stream called Stir Crazy Shamans. And that was the beginning of me showing up. I'm actually putting myself out there. I'm not having a point of view that if I say something stupid on air, I'm like, oh no, this is going to end up, people are going to hold this over my head forever. We're all goofballs, and like we can laugh at the things that we say that we didn't mean to say or that didn't come out right. Dr. K does it to me all the time. but here's the link for the healing clinic.
Ridiculous. It's funny. But yeah, so just recapping, number one, let's handle your stress, because as the holidays approach, this is where people, they take on too much, got to get gifts, got to do this, got to run around, got to family stuff. If we can navigate your stress, your chances of picking something up are going to be way less. And then number two, avoiding sugars, avoiding a lot of alcohol. Number three, avoiding gluten. Number four, doing vitamin C, zinc, NAC we talked about. What else? Essential oils that we talked about, lemon, eucalyptus. Mountain Savory is another one.
Or you can just buy the roll.
Or just buy the whole thing. It's got everything in there.
Yeah. And it's $16, and it's at a 10% dilution rate, and it should last you all winter.
Yeah, sure. Oils last a while.
Yep.
Probiotics. Yep. Vitamin D, vitamin DK with 3, D3 with K2. And then, I have the immunopoise that I start. It's susceptibility infection. You just put this under your tongue twice a day, morning and evening. There's a lot of other tinctures that we can use, homeopathics that I use to boost the immune system as we head in, and they work great. They really do. So getting started on some things would be really key, but really navigating the stress, because even though some people are on all day, like, I take vitamin D, and I take vitamin C, and I take this, and I take this, and I still got a cold. I'm like, well, let's look at your diet. Let's look at your stress level, because everything's out here first. Remember, when we talk about you feel a cold coming on, that means, and people usually capture it like, I worked a little too hard. I worked 3 days in a row, and I don't usually do that, and it was high stress. You will usually know, you'll feel that cold coming on. You'll know when you're starting to take on too much, or you're doing too much, or something feels off, or there's some sort of stressor. Let's handle that.
Perfect. And I just realized that this web store link wasn't working from Emergence. I didn't even have it on Emergence of Being. Shame on me. But I just posted the link to my web store. And if you wanted to get access to the physician's dispensary that has the quality products that actually are...
Just email me.
Just message Dr. K, email Dr. K, and she can get you set up with a link specific to you.
If you want it, I'll just put my email down in here.
Ta-da.
eyesight should be on there as well.
And I know we always we were switching over to a 20-minute live stream, but today's topic, there were so many places we could go with it that really
it's endless. I mean, there's more.
yeah, we could go more, but that means perhaps next week we're going to go into doing a little bit about food sensitivities and the blood test that's available that I went through and share my results with people just to see like how robust it is. And you'll be surprised what you find out you're allergic to. Not allergic to. In my case, I had no allergies, but there was a ton of things that I thought were fine that maybe my body's like, stop it, dum dum.
Yeah, there's difference between sensitivity and an allergy. When you get in, so the test will tell you IgE antibody, and IgA and IgG. If you have an IgA, if those two light up, or it'll have like a row and it'll be red. I forget what they have, like a little mark. That means you have a sensitivity. It means it's like a delayed allergy, meaning you may have it today and you won't really see an effect of a little rash or discomfort until 2 days later. That there's a delay with that. IgE, those are the people that when they have shellfish, boom, throat closes up, tongue gets big. That's a true allergic reaction. There's other types of allergic reactions that don't show up for about 2 to 3 days later. Or sensitivity where you get diarrhea, you get a little rash. Those types of things.
Even my toothpaste, I'm sensitive to one of the things. But Sarah was saying, great live stream today. Fantastic, guys. I'm so glad I caught you.
Oh, you're welcome, Sarah.
And if you ever miss us, the best place to catch the replay, if you go to the YouTube channel, you can catch all of our replays. There's literally, I have over 100 videos on the Emergence of Being YouTube channel. So like you can binge watch us. And if you could be a contribution to us, the big thing is to, especially from YouTube, to share the video, to comment on the video, to like the video. All that helps the algorithms that control like who we get served to know that we're relevant. And so you could be a huge contribution just by doing those few things. I see a ton of people watching on Facebook. YouTube is the place that helps us the most, but even if you go afterwards, let the replay play in the background. I know my wife is really good about that. She'll like play all the videos like in the background, like, and just let them play through because it all helps the algorithm. So like if you guys do stuff, I know Magic Mike helps us with that. It's all really helpful to help us spread the contagion of consciousness. And Sarah was just saying IgG causes inflammation.
Correct. Yeah.
And Journey's just like IG, laugh out loud. Oh, but thank you everybody for hanging with us for this longer live stream. We really appreciate it. And please check out the Healing Clinic. We're going to be there tonight. We already have a couple people booked, so I know there's a couple spots free. But if you're too late for tonight, there's going to be the first Monday of November that is going to be available as well.
Yep, absolutely. Come start getting stuff cleared up. Yep, that's where to start.
Awesome. But until next time, thank you everybody, and we will catch you next time. Stay aware.
Bye-bye.
Bye. I just have to find the right one. Here's the outro video. Bye, everyone.
Okay, bye everybody.
Thank you for joining us today for the show. Holistic Health and Healing is part of the Emergence of Being Contributor Network. Visit us at emergenceofbeing.com for all of our contributors' content and to learn about our services and upcoming events. Please take a moment to subscribe to the channel. You can contribute to the show by supporting our efforts and sharing our content with those you care about and those who need it most.